Freedom of speech is under attack in the West as never before. The damned people, us, you and me, ungrateful wretches, don't know our place. We won't stop talking to each other about things governments are doing that we don't like, that we don't want. So they've just decided to shut us up once and for all, using fear tactics more than anything else. And by saying our words are hateful, that our words are incitement. Here in Britain, courtesy of a freshly minted Labour government, people are being jailed for messages posted on social media. And think about that. For posting words the government objects to. Violent criminals are being released early to make room for such people in prison. I mean, notions like incitement and hate are subjective concepts when you get right down to it. They are made real only in the eye of the beholder. Everyone's got a different idea about what's hateful, about what's incitement. But those concepts are being weaponised. Who exactly defines incitement? Who exactly defines hateful? Such decisions, arbitrary, are in the service of the state. They determine whether a person goes to jail for posting messages, for attending protests. So it's freedom itself that's at stake now. Let us not forget that our history, and the history of the United States of America, the history of France and other nations besides, that in order to honour that history, the blood spilled and lives sacrificed in pursuit of freedom, we are obliged to insist we will not be frightened into silence, not by terrorists, and surely not by our own governments. And yet, it's increasingly hard to avoid the conclusion we are even now being terrorised into silence by our government. A government, let's not forget, that has the support of less than 20% of the people of this country. And judging by the polls, that percentage is falling further all the time. Any government, perhaps every government, would, given half a chance, use legislation to write itself into a position of power from which it cannot be removed. If they had that power for one day, that's what a government would do with it. And on the road to that destination, any government might, and unless tackled and hobbled, will seek to silence any dissent and disagreement with it. We have a government in this country, like governments here, there, and everywhere, that wants to silence opposition, that's throwing in jail those who point out this country is being driven to hell in a handcart by those who would be totalitarian dictators. Hate speech laws are being pushed through Parliament. This won't stop unless we stop it. He who remains silent, they say, is deemed to have granted his consent. So, speak now, or mourn the loss of freedom forever. It's that simple.